There was a TV show, and I forget what the name of it was. His punchline was, "It's a curse." And it's a curse because there's nothing I don't see that's cool that I don't think we can make.
All right, we are just north of Chicago in Wheeling, Illinois. We are at Marathon Precision.
I think there's 17,300 machine shops in the U.S. right now. I don't know how many are ISO, and I don't know how many are as diversified equipment-wise as us.
Marathon Precision is a one-stop shop that offers CNC machining, grinding, blacksmithing, chemical machining, EDM.
I'm not bragging, I'm trying to help the industry. Most of the money I make, I put back into the shop.
And you might look at this inconspicuous exterior and think that you've seen 1,000 shops like this before. But I promise you, you have never, ever, ever seen a shop like this. Let's check it out.
As I've gotten older, in 2015, my best friend died. Nicest guy in the world, sweetheart. He died of cancer. And when I was leaving his funeral, I thought, you know, no one will remember me. And I always say I can make everything. I'm proud I can make anything. And that day I decided to start making fun stuff in my shop. Yeah. When I started, all I wanted to make was the forged dies. That's why we opened, and then it just kept growing. And we had grown to a point where I had room to make some of the art that you've seen in my shop. And I thought it was good for the shop, good for morale. You know, the guys can work on their car here, they can make whatever they want to make. We made our own fish tank.
Wow.
So Mike bought the stingrays.
Clownfish, I love clownfish.
Yeah, and the Oscar's about almost 10 years old.
Holy smokes. Hey, bud. Wow.
So that was the first baby, and these were the last ones here. And if you look, they're like, they call them bat wings. And this turtle is my son's turtle. He's registered with papers from CITES. He's endangered.
Huh.
It's a freshwater pig-nosed turtle, they call them. So one of the things I like doing is just putting artwork in the shop. I think it's creatively, it's good for everybody in the shop too. So we made, that's all 50 states. My dad was in the Army Air Force, Second World War. So right now we're in the middle of building a side of an airplane out there. I'll show you.
Wow.
And this is all 50 states, Kramer. And this is a homage to the period I grew up in.
Uh-huh.
So welcome to my shop. Chemical machining. So it's all time and speed that we make these. So you laminate it, you create your artwork, you etch it through a car wash, get it out, strip the film off of it, what's left, and then we sharpen them. And we have 3 Sodic high-speed, 40,000 RPM spindles. More than half of the mail you get starts with my dies. And I go in a grocery store, every aisle has got labels that I've made. I found out I was 7% Irish. I believe in Lucky Charms. We sharpen our own tooling here. So we bought this at IMTS a couple years ago. I believe in doing everything in-house. We heat treat in-house, we sharpen our tools. We'll end up doing 90% of our own tooling in-house. Right now we do a lot of aluminum, so we're getting a price on anodizing line. We'll do our own anodizing line. We're talking to the IEPA now. So these, like if you were to go to a restaurant, under the plates is a paper placemat. We make most of those for everybody in the country. If you buy an envelope that has seeds in it, you know, this would be a seed envelope. We hand sharpen everything in here.
Check this out.
So my shop, you're gonna see from literally old school to the most modern machines made. So what we do is, it's dark for a reason. That way we can see the cutting edge. And when they're hand sharpening that cutting edge to what it'll cut when it's done, 2.5 inches of paper. And what we do is I have a blacksmith, will bend a die, kind of carve it all by hand down to a cutting edge, and then hand sharpen it. And I could machine it easily. I mean, I have enough machines, but a forged die is still the best die. Huh. Nice leather, brand new glove, heavy.
Wow.
Everybody should have a Volkswagen. This will shoot a bowling ball. 4 ounces of black powder, I calculated, should shoot at about 1,280 feet. This is April.
Okay.
We made her in April. That's me. She has a tattoo. I collect anvils because I built my business over an anvil. So that's an old granite anvil that was pulled out of Massachusetts. This was a log that was in my yard. I carved that up. That's Buzz. He's my dragonfly. Mike wanted a dragonfly. That's a spider. That's where Mike and I work.
Wow.
Maybe turn the light off. We have a full grinding room. So we'll talk over there where it's a little not as loud. But these will end up being envelope dies. All your mail that comes in the mail, your bills are number 10, so that's the most common one. We just hired this fella. He's a Ukrainian refugee. Super nice guy. Lost half of his hand in a bomb. Small grinders, large grinders. We have 3 blacksmiths. One's on vacation right now. But what we'll do is we'll take a bar of steel. Someone will send us either a drawing file, a PDF, whatever, or they'll ask us to design it. And I have a laser. And what we'll do is with the laser, we'll cut a tin template, and the blacksmiths will forge a bar of steel that's wedge-shaped around that pattern. I believe in anybody who wants to work, we'll teach them whatever we want, whatever they want to learn. The fellow I just showed you with a hand, if he keeps moving up, I'll teach him anything he wants to learn in my company. We don't hold anybody down.
How do you find people who know how to do this?
We train.
You train them.
Train.
Right? Amazing.
So we do, I started as a die shop, but I love equipment. We have small saws, big saws. We fabricate here. Somebody's building a fence. Stanley's building a motorcycle back there. We have surface grinding, TIG welding, MIG welding. That was a 55 I had bought to restore, and it was just too much rust. So we cut it in half and put it on the wall. We do a lot of OD grinding, a lot of grinding. All our tolerances are 2/10. You know, if it's 3/10, it won't cut. It's that simple. I've worked since I was 6. My dad had problems because of the war. My mom had 6 kids, and my mom worked hard. She put a lot of ethic in all of us. And I worked, the first job I had was in a drugstore, a liquor store, and a gas station. So I have a drugstore over there where I grew up was in Andersonville. I have a Sinclair gas station right now. You know, I'm a marathon runner, so that's where the marathon came from.
Really?
Yeah. So we do a lot of shafts. We do a lot of hard parts. Everything we have good equipment and good guys. So this is still under construction.
Man,
That's my son's car. That's my truck.
really?
My guys get to bring their cars in here. We just welded up one of my employees' cars and fixed that. Another employee right now has gotten in an accident or something, so we're fixing his car.
Like a live GTA garage.
That's my office back here. Zora Duntov, who the Z in Corvettes, Z51, Z06, ZR1, the Z stands for Zora. He was a chief engineer. He built this car. I'm all about the history of the 60s. It's a pretty cool car.
Oh, yeah.
This is a car we're building right now. We'll come down on Sundays and work on the cars, but that's all new sheet metal. We rewired it, got an LS3 in it. This one we finished has an LS7 in this. It's about 600 horsepower. Pretty much if it's a car, there's 3 or 4 of us here that know a lot about cars.
Okay.
And anything we can teach anybody here, I think is good, whether it's a car mechanical. If it's mechanical, it's good. So these are all knives that come for sharpening. And, you know, you can look, you know, like here's a good example. Our competition, they still machine old school, slow RPMs. Everything we do is high-speed machining. So look how smooth the bottom is. It almost looks like it was turned or done on a sinker. But we did it with a milling machine, faster than they did it with that. But that's the investment you make paying off. You know, I say all the time, if I get a customer to come here, chances are I'll get their work because of 2 things. They see the talent pool we have and the equipment I have. There's very few things we can't hit a home run on. And I see 2 or 3 types of shops out there right now. The dinosaur shop, I'm 65, I'll never retire, but a lot of guys I know that own shops hit 55 and bought a Bentley and didn't put the money back in, which is cheating your employees and cheating your family if they're there. And I've done just the opposite. My newest car is 50 years old. You know, now they're nice, but most of them weren't nice when I bought them. We made them that way. You know, these are blacksmithing anvils, those there. So a blacksmith, my grandpa was a blacksmith. The first bend a blacksmith would make is to bend a part round. So depending on the size of the horse or the pony, you could have a pony funnel or a cone, or if you had a Clydesdale, your first bend would be down around the middle of that cone. One thing I'm really proud of is I try to be a one-stop shop. I think if you're only a mill shop or only a turn shop or only a grind shop, chances are you have the technical ability to do all of it. It's just you didn't make that investment. And I've always bought big. You know, if you build it, they will come. That's been my philosophy all along. So when we bought this building, I had no right buying a building this size. But I knew technically we were solid and people would find us. We don't advertise, we don't call people. It's been just pure luck or word of mouth. I don't want to say luck.
No, not luck.
That was my dad. That was this plane.
Wow.
So they took this probably because it was a 25th mission. They were supposed to go home. And probably the next day they got a bad letter saying, or telegram saying, no, you got to stick around for, and that was one of their planes when it crashed, it caught fire. It's crazy, right?
Yeah.
Somebody sent me a picture of one someone made and said, oh, you bet you couldn't make that. And it took a little bit, but there's 516 pieces of 316 stainless.
It's a functional art museum in a way, you know?
You know, this is where I think a lot of machine shops should be going, because it's harder and harder to get young guys.
Yeah.
And the young guys only want to work, I shouldn't say that, because the Ukrainian fella is a good example of a guy that just wants better.
Yeah.
You know, but if you show them a path to make more, to do more, to learn more, most people will take that path.
Yeah.
You know, and you can usually spot those people right away.
So you must have had people who were interested in working here, or that you wanted to bring on board, and they just walk around and like you just said, all the creativity, all the projects that you work on.
Anybody wants to make anything, I'm all for it. Yeah. We've made light, you name it, we've made it. Mailboxes, lights, anything, you know.
It opens up your imagination to walk.
It does, and it makes you want to learn more. You know, a lot of guys just come to work. I feel sorry to the guy that comes to work and it's an 8-hour, you know, oh, I got to go to work. I'd rather have a guy that's excited about coming here, or knows that if he wants to work on something or make something. I mean, we have the largest toolbox on the block, period. If you treat people like family and not just as an employee, and show that you're investing in the company, if they have some room to grow in the company, it's not hard to find people. So you ever play darts? I'm a big dart player. You know, we have high-speed machines, sinkers, wires, 3, 4, 5-axis. And in 2010, the Haas salesman had told me they were going to build a 5-axis. And I gave them a $5,000 deposit and said, I want one of the first ones. And they had one that came out in 2012. We got one of the very first ones in the country. And I just saw it as a good investment. Again, you do anything you can to separate yourself from everybody else on the block. And it worked. You know, there's 5 machine shops on this block, and I do work for all of them because they're all one-dimensional or two-dimensional. And if you can, the more you can do, the more opportunities you have. So in 2016, I went to IMTS, and I've been going forever. I saw Metsura with a palletized machine. Jergens had their vices on it. They were building vices there at the machine show. And I said, you know, handmade machine, it's a beautiful machine. I said, that's where I want to be. So we bought a 520 to start with 5 pallets, 4 pallets and one in, and we thought we would do production work. But it became such a great machine for having different work holding on each vise without having to change vices all the time. And you save hours every time you did that. So then we ended up buying another MAM and then another MAM, and I think we have 7 or 8 Metsuras now. We make everything now. I mean, when I bought the first Haas, we did it for our die shop. We would do rotary tooling and make whatever we needed for the dies. And then as the shop got bigger, I just started buying equipment that we didn't need. I mean, the first high-speed mill we bought sat till we grew into it. You know, because I've always worked shorthanded. We pay overtime, work shorthanded, and buy the best equipment I can buy and then grow into it. The first job I had for an outside customer, a friend of mine at a bearing company had a customer come in and needed a bushing drilled. And he says, oh, I'll take it over to Mike. He's a nice guy, he won't even charge you. And that led to a big company, to another sister company, to somebody else who worked in a company who knew, it's a spider web. And you know, I've always been proud that I didn't have a sign in the front of my building for my die side, because in my little world, people know me. In the machine shop world, it's different. So what do you have to do to differentiate yourself from everybody else is be able to hit home runs. Yeah, I used to work for a company that had 2 bosses. And the one boss is what we do every morning. First thing we do is come in, set our drink down, and we walk around and say good morning to everybody, shake their hand. Everybody does that in the shop. When they leave, everybody says good night to everybody. And that's how the one owner was. And the other owner was technically, he could see around corners. He was a good guy. But one time we had just bought a new Mazak, and the kid running it ran the RPMs up way too high, too big of a piece, took too much of a cut. Part came out of the machine, knocked the door off. Lucky it didn't kill him. Knocked him on top of the table behind him. The piece rolled over him, over the door, hit the wall behind him. A small shop. Everybody went running. You okay, you okay, okay? The 2 owners. One owner said, you want me to call you an ambulance? Let's get an ambulance. The other owner walked over and picked up the door and wanted to see how bad it was. And that day I decided which I wanted to be. We have 2, 3, 4, 5, 10-axis lathes. Oh, it's beautiful. Lower turret, twin spindle. We started on the Integrex. Some parts easy, like the vacuum cylinders. Those were done on the Integrex.
Of what you're, wow, that's really nice. That's amazing.
Yeah, I mean,
That's really,
you know, buy technology. If you buy technology, you can't lose.
wow, this building is way bigger than it looks like from the outside.
So we have horizontal Matsuras, vertical Matsuras. We have, this is a 12 pallet horizontal. We have a 15 pallet MAM. That's the airplane.
Matsura, huh?
They're the best machine. They are. Mori's a good machine. You know, Hermele's a good machine, Grob. But when you look at a machine that's got 15 pallets in that work envelope, we make our own work holding here, so we make our own vices.
You do?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, because I mean, you start looking at a machine that's got 300 tool holders, you know, there goes a lot of money. And then the tool up between everything, I don't know, 50, 60 vices, you know, at 4 or 5 grand a vice.
Yeah.
So we made all of our own.
How many employees do you have?
50 to 60, somewhere in there. So we have 5-axis Haas. We have a bunch of 3-axis over there. 4-axis are on the other side. This is a 4-axis. So we have smaller machines, big machines.
Wow.
This was the first Haas pallet machine. I bought that at IMTS in 2022. Up here we inventory a lot of parts. This started out,
Whoa. Huh. So I'm a musician. I've recorded lots of albums, and I recognize this. Oh my goodness! What in the world? You guys have a full recording studio in here.
yeah, it's pretty cool, isn't it? Yeah, so my son-in-law knew a fella that rebuilds guitars.
You know, I've played music since I was a kid, and so drumming is you know, it's exercise, but it's also a creative. Oh, this is amazing, man.
Nice. God damn it. I wish I could play. That is amazing.
What a place.
It's different, yeah?
Very, very different. Hey everybody, Brent Donaldson with Modern Machine Shop here, and if you just watched that video and you're thinking, boy, I'd like my shop to be featured in the View from My Shop series, then just send us an email at shopvideo@mmsonline.com and tell us what sets your shop apart.